we have one final closing panel that's going to be moderated by Vitalik, and it's going to have Emma, Aisling, Alina, and myself. So yeah, our final panel, and then we are done for today. Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, great. Thank you, guys. So since no one else is on the panel yet, my first question will be to Vitalik. Vitalik, what is your favorite color? I like blue. I think, I mean, like the hex code, like maybe like CCDDFF or so is like, actually that's a bit too white. Maybe 0044FF is good.
This.
Okay, so great. So thank you very much, guys, and welcome also to the closing panel. I mean, I think, a first question that I wanted to start asking each of you guys is, when you first invited to speak at or at DIAC Day, or if you made the decision yourself, then when you first heard of it, like what motivated you to be interested and to come speak here?
Yeah, thanks very much. So I come from a really different background. I'm a traditional academic. My 9-to-5 is doing research in viral evolution, and I wasn't really involved in this space at all. But actually, when I found out about DIAC, I was into it pretty quickly because I work in viruses, infectious disease, and a public health mechanism. And like, nobody goes into public health to get rich. We do public health because we make a lot more money and we have a better society when we're not dying all the time. But this is a hard idea to sell. Weirdly, it's hard to sell people on the idea of not dying all the time. And so this idea of having, decentralized structures and communities that can see the value in having public goods and investing in those public goods, and the fact that from that base we can then build up to all of the wonderful things we'd like to achieve as a society, I feel like those two spaces just fit together really well. So I am so, so grateful that I was able to come and be here.
Well, I'm going to ask a horrible, horrible question right now, but what is DIAC?
DIAC is decentralized defensive acceleration. It's the movements to build technologies that can give us a brighter future, one where we can all live better lives, and also without destroying each other and without centralizing power while we do it.
That is a beautiful concept also, because I feel like Web3 is also often used as a solution for all the evils on this planet, which I completely disagree with. And I think that it's a tool, it's a hammer. You can use it to build a house, you can use it to, break someone's skull. So I'm just happy to be here.
Thanks. I'm very happy you're here as well. True to style with your beer and sunglasses. No, but for me, I think I saw the first DIAC talk at the Programmable Crypto Day in Istanbul, I think maybe 2.5 years ago now, or 1.5 years ago. I don't know how time is anymore. And yeah, I was mostly interested in still kind of updating on how this bridge between DIAC and programmable crypto is going, and coming to say, hey, it's a bit better now, start using it more.
So our head of tech, Artem, attended the first DIAC, and he said, messaging us, like, we need to look at what they're doing, our values align, and we should be part of DIAC somehow. So reached out to QZ, and he was just like, yeah, we can do it. I think our values align. And so we're thinking about Octant and all the good that we do, and I thought, okay, this is cool. My boss, Julian, was supposed to be speaking, and then I got roped into being an MC. So I said, you know what, I'm happy to be a chief vibes officer for the day. Yeah, but I think just like, I did not realize how aligned we were when it came to DIAC, because I understood it from a concept level, I guess, or what I had seen online. But after attending all these conversations and sessions, it made me feel like actually we're all building towards DIAC, and I think that was the biggest, best thing to come out of today.
But this is something that is more of a question. So when we talk about DIAC, do we talk about a product or more like ideology?
I mean, I think it started as an idea, but it's something that really needs to graduate into, I think, not one product, not a set of products. I mean, ideally, I think a set of engines for creating, products in a sense defined very generally. Yeah. Okay, yes. Well, now, you know, you're, I mean, it seems like we have permissionless moderation here. So, you know, who here wants to ask the next question?
I want to ask Emma. Were there any misconceptions you had about Ethereum or crypto or even like positive tech in this industry? And what has cleared up after attending so many sessions? So I saw you taking all these notes, and I loved how attentive you were and so respectful to speakers. And you know, we have feelings too when we're on stage, and it feels really, really disheartening when people are on their phones. So tell me, has there been anything that's been really cool and that you feel like, damn, like I'm ready to actually say crypto's positive, or even just like positive tech as a whole?
No, I do think, I mean, so I'm not completely foreign to the space in a long-term range. Back in the day, I was a true gamer, going to QuakeCon, all these things. I was way more up with the tech, but now I'm old and I'm boring and I just do my job. And then also found Pathoplexus on the side. But I do think that there are, like, unfortunately, there are stereotypes about crypto, and there's stereotypes around the people that want to be involved in crypto. And actually, I really enjoyed the session this afternoon where, you know, everyone was kind of responding to each other, and people were asking questions and making statements around what is DIAC and what is, you know, ethics and this kind of. And I think that is, like, very different from the stereotype. And it's so encouraging that there are people that want to do both crypto, and I know that obviously this is clear to you guys, but that there are people that want to do both crypto and that want to engage in these deeper questions and are not just asking how rich can I get from this. And I think that's super encouraging, and it really gives me hope that like this can be a future that actually can move towards more than just how much money can we make, that we can build better things. So this has been, yeah, I have taken so many notes because today has been really eye-opening in so many ways, and it has surprised me how much I personally and also professionally and in a kind of biological pandemic preparedness sense have jived with so many of the messages. And everyone I've spoken to, I've been so pleased with the connections, and I really hope that we can start bringing kind of more biology in and more of this. I think there's a lot of parallels that we could make a real difference for public health and pandemic
100%.
preparedness.
Why do you think more public health and pandemic people are not DIAC aligned already? Not in the sense of like having heard of DIAC, the word obviously, but more in the sense of like mentality, and like what do you think could be done to change that?
I think, yeah, to some degree it is just a matter of not being very aware. So, you know, I think people are probably more DIAC aligned, they just don't know it. I'd say that was true of me. Like when I read about DIAC, when I was invited here, I was like, oh, yeah, no, I'm down with that. And I think that's probably true for a lot of people in public health. But on the other hand, I also think, kind of as I mentioned in my talk, like public health is chronically underfunded and under-resourced. And if you are struggling to get basic reagents to your lab and struggling to get permission from your government to share sequences and struggling to have the basic resources to go out and test your people, then, you know, being involved in a crypto future is just, it's so unreachable. So I think in some ways we also, if we want to involve the people, and one of the messages that's been repeated here many times today is to make sure that we are serving the people that we want to have as part of our users and serving the people that we want to protect. That means also trying to reach out and finding ways so that people can have that kind of spare brain space to think about the bigger picture. Because if people are absolutely worn down, they don't have the space. We need to also find ways to give them a way to see that they can either have a bit of that space or that this is worth staying up that extra hour in the evening investing in because it will make their lives easier in the long run.
Okay, so I think I'm curious, very similar question on the privacy side, which is basically, I mean, like what, I think from a couple of points of view, right, because there's like two types of arguments against privacy, where one is basically like, why should I care? And the other is, well, like only bad people will use it. And I'm curious how you see like both of those, and you know, like what kinds of approaches that you've had or that you're most optimistic about for addressing them.
Me? I mean, I was going to ask the same question about DIAC as well, like in the permissionless moderation here. And I think the question comes down to a bit like, what is the responsibility of the individual, and how are we taking, like, how seriously are we taking it? And I think we are not taking it seriously at all. And I think like even the people in this room, like me included, like we work, we get busy, we get distracted by Twitter, we like make excuses. And I think we really don't take it seriously enough at all. I think like, yeah, I have nothing to hide. I want to use Google because it's easy. I want to use Slack because other teams do and I need to talk to them. And we don't challenge enough at all. So I think we don't take enough individual responsibility. And because of that, then they remain as tools for fraudsters or whatever. And like, yeah, but like, as you said, maybe I can hand the mic to you for this one, but like, on the other side of it, yeah, they're tools for bad people. Yeah, you can use a hammer to smash a head or build a house. Like, always you will do things. And like, so yeah, on the one hand, there's individual responsibility that we're not taking seriously enough. On the other hand, it's still early that like other people, maybe regulators, maybe governors or whatever, people who have some sort of power to control the bad side of it, haven't really got there yet. So, I mean, it's coming, sure, and people are talking about it. But yeah, this is how I would see it. We need more individual responsibility and to talk to, like you are outside, we also need to talk to regulators and things as we start doing, but slowly.
Yeah, changing the perception, right? Actually, we use Mattermost at work in Proton Mail, so very, very values aligned at Octant, even with the tools that we use. I guess privacy is one of those things where it's like, it's good in theory until something happens to you, and then you're like, oh shit, I should have been better. And I think one of the sessions here, I forget who, I think it was it Andreas? I'm forgetting, but who spoke about ENS and POAPs and then the same wallet where our crypto is. And you know, it was one of those moments where I think a lot of us were like, oh shit, like it's true, but like, are we guilty of that? Yes, probably. You know, I think we don't even realize how many people look at our content or what can reveal what, right? Like post your photo, flex, whatever. But if you're talking about your gains, you are a public target. I don't know how many of you have TikTok here? Raise your hand. Very few if you have brain rot, clearly. I do. I love TikTok. There's a TikTok user called Yuval. You literally send any photo, he can figure out and locate you, and he makes TikToks about this. So literally, like the corner of this curtain can share where you are and disclose so much, and we leave so many traces of our personal, just online activity, usernames, people, family. You don't even know how and what could be perceived and how easy of a target you are. Someone else spoke about the CEO who was attacked, finger was cut off. Like, there's horrible harms to this, and sure, there are bigger profile targets, but all of us are, and we are so online on Twitter and on crypto. And so, yeah, I think just like privacy is a very much everyday proactive thing that we need to implement more proactively until, and like, let's not wait, right, until something bad happens. So I think that's probably like, yeah.
I love that you mentioned that, because for me, privacy is a way to, it's a collective care. Because, for example, I'm Russian. When I go back to Russia as a privacy activist, I don't feel safe using WhatsApp. And I urge my friends to move to Signal. And my friends are not necessarily in Web3. And they're very hesitant. They're not very happy with it because, you know, if it's just for me, but then my friend group is quite big. And I'm like, if we all just move there, I will feel better. And God forbid something happens, it's a collective care that everybody move to that tool. Because in the end, it's a care for everyone. It's a care for your trans friend that is entering a state that's not so friendly to trans people, or a journalist that's in deep shit because they reported on the wrong government. And it shouldn't be necessarily, it is individual, but it's also caring for other people, that it's empathy. Privacy is empathy in the end. And I would love to see the narrative shift from the math to culture, because math is accessible to few. Culture is something that we all feel in our bones.
You know, just to add on here, it just speaking to current climate too, like I think a lot of people are realizing how important privacy is, especially after governments are looking at social media accounts. Like I've turned so many of my accounts private too, because I've posted about Palestine so much in the past, and I think that's been like one thing that has personally scared me is like, am I gonna be stopped at the border and passport and control, right? But I don't think a lot of people also understand how to be private when our platforms are so very Web 2 and very much like in the hands of corporations that we have no control over. So I think, I guess a lot of people have the appetite but don't understand because of exactly like the marketing and the messaging, right? Which is like, oh, privacy is for people doing terrible, illegal things.
To normal people, Signal is just an app, but for me, it's my safety.
So I think Signal is an interesting example to talk about, right? Because it's a privacy app, but at the same time, it's like made it's gotten to such a huge level of mainstream adoption that I mean, literally, even to the point where famously the U.S. government uses it. I guess I'm curious actually for all of your takes on like what do you think are some things that like Signal did uniquely well in that regard that like other privacy applications can learn from?
I literally have no clue, but like I like to think that Signal is the biggest fluke that ever happened in cryptography because like somehow WhatsApp adopted the Signal protocol and overnight like 1 billion people had end-to-end encryption in messaging. Okay, sure, like obviously WhatsApp is not like, you know, I mean, yeah, sure there are flaws, but I find it crazy that this happened overnight. I don't know what Signal did that. I don't know, like I know it as a cryptographer, all the cryptographers used it and like the privacy people used it. Maybe some of those people became interesting enough that their interesting friends started using it and then the government, but like, I'm not sure. I really don't know what happened.
I have a hot take. Might be drugs. So a lot of drug deals happen over Signal, and that's not how I found out about Signal, but that's how I live in Amsterdam. Now we're in Berlin. Like, you know, I know a lot of drug dealers actually. Please don't take a video of this. Oh my god. But yeah, like it is a mass adoption technique, but also Signal has this very seamless interface where it's very similar to WhatsApp. You download it, you put in your phone number, and you got it running. You don't have to have a wallet. You don't have to have like so many multiple steps for it to work. It's just easy, and it's just there.
This is exactly what I would say. I mean, everyone that I've managed to move on to Signal, it's because it's basically WhatsApp. It's because it's easy. They didn't have to learn a new way of sending a message. They didn't have to find out which Mastodon instance to join, and does that mean I can still talk to my friends? It works the same, it looks the same, it's really easy. And I do think there's lessons to be learned there. As we've just talked about with privacy, you know, privacy is great in theory, but if it takes too much effort, you just don't do it because who has time? And it's the same with other things as well. If you make it easy, if you make it a path of the tiniest amount of friction, then you can get people to switch over. If you make it perfect but difficult, nobody will switch.
And DuckDuckGo, I think that's a good one too. And VPNs are the second one, but I think VPNs out of necessity actually, because like I have family where they're in regions where VoIP calls are blocked, and so they don't care about the privacy aspect. They just care that they can have a free call and call up their family member in a different country, and that is why they're using VPNs, because it's like, oh yeah, now you can have a free call. So I think for emerging markets, there's definitely that use case too. I know, Azim, you raised your hand. Did you have something?
Do you remember the tweet by Snowden being like, well, is the ultimate ad for Signal is that I'm still alive?
There was things like that where I feel like his story became so much bigger than usually in the past. Thank you. Stories would for things like that. It became like this international news. And I remember hearing about it then, and it was between Telegram and Signal for so much time. But I would say that was like the unique property of it, was it became an international scandal. And if you wanted to be safe, you were told by the guy who was being hunted by the entire world and hiding in Russia that you should use Signal.
I think it has to be this because, I'm sorry, the UX on Signal was complete shit until like quite recently.
It used to completely
It was
suck.
really
now
bad.
It's just WhatsApp.
Like it was really bad, and like I think it was something like this because at the time it was really only cryptographers and people using it. Like the drug dealers were using Telegram. I don't know them either, but like they were using Telegram and Threema and whatever. Like there were many things at the time that were all kind of floating around, and I really think it must be this.
The drug dealers still use Telegram more, by the way.
Speaking about apps, is Telegram private?
No.
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 Good to know. Thank
I mean, it might even be one of the few apps that has the honor of being backdoored by both the Russian and Western governments. Okay, so Maybe actually, this is such an interesting discussion, and maybe think of a parallel, which is it's often very similarly hard to get people to care about a lot of public health causes, right? So, and a lot of people know what air filters are. Like very few rooms still have them, though. There is an enthusiast community that does. A lot of people, still go to work and don't bother wearing masks even when they're sick. And so, what are some things that you think we can do to try to accelerate some changes of behavior in terms of adopting either better technologies or better practices from a health perspective?
Yeah, it's a tough question, and I kind of pre-pandemic, I felt more negative about it. And I mean, if this is not to whitewash over, for example, like all of the terrible politicization of things like masks. But on the other hand, I think, before the pandemic, if you went out in the street in a mask, that would have been pretty crazy. People would have really been staring at you. Now, obviously, there, depending what country you're in, there might be political kind of overtones to that. But in general, you can do it, and nobody thinks it's that weird anymore. And it's not weird to see people masking on a plane or at a conference or something. And so I do think that that shows that these things can change, and that a lot of that is probably tied to kind of familiarity, availability, and culture. Because the other thing is, if you wanted to wear a mask before the pandemic, I mean, where would you get them? You could maybe find some surgical masks, like the little blue ones, but if you wanted an actual NFP mask, then good luck finding one. This would have been like a special order. So having these things be more available, even if you still have to pay for them, just making them so that you don't have to special order them from China can make a big difference. I think raising awareness about what you can do, how effective it might be, making sure people can then get a hold of that, and then starting to gradually change the culture so that you're not seen as weird or paranoid or whatever to implement that thing. Because I do think that's maybe one backlash of the pandemic, is that there's a little bit of a feeling now that, at least in some groups, if you wear a mask, then you're scared and you don't trust your immune system. And if you wanted to install filters or something, like, oh, you're so paranoid, why are you so scared of a few viruses? They're totally natural. And obviously that's not how it works. You should definitely be scared of some viruses. And also, many of us would just like to have fewer sick days, even if we're not dying. So I think that starting to very gradually change kind of how we're thinking about this back to this is something that we can all benefit from. This is something that can change us all as a society. And then thinking about how can we make that kind of implementable? How can we incentivize that buildings have better filters without that becoming, the next political argument? But I think these are things worth investing in, because these are things that will allow us to be able to better combat. For example, if we had another COVID-19, we have learned so many lessons about what we could do better, but we still have a long way to go as far as implementing that. If we starting to change that now, maybe we'll be ready before we need it.
Can also make the devices look cute and turn it into consumerism.
But also, I love that we have a medical perspective or a biology perspective on this, and we're combining privacy with it, because maybe making medical records private and normalizing that part could be a key to actually achieving privacy adoption, because everybody in this room probably doesn't want to have all of their medical records docs. Like, you don't have to, have an embarrassing disease to care about that.
Actually, on that, one open suggestion for any developer with the right abilities, which, honestly, with AI, has far more people than before. For a type of medical record that is painfully unprivate, that you can help make private yourself, health data collection on smartwatches.
Are you gonna fund that? Are you gonna fund it?
Very, very open to, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I organize hackathons, and the main problem is always looking for funding. There's so many great ideas, but money is a problem.
Okay, well, let's...
Private bounty from Vitalik over here.
Okay, have some fun, and we can talk about the ding later. Okay.
That's a really good one. And I would add period tracking data and fertility data, because how many women here use period tracking and fertility apps? Yep, all of us. And do you know that Clue and other apps, Flow, have sold all of our data to the government multiple times, and to other orgs too. So this is very, very personal data that affects us in a very real way. And I wish there was
especially in the US, where some states are literally banning abortion, and it's just you put two and two together, and the person is a political enemy, out, easy.
Yeah, so just having a private period tracking app and fertility app would be life-changing for there's a lot of women in
Would
this
you
world.
sponsor that too?
Yeah, very open to it. Mm.
Lessons of
No.
PD from Alina.
No. I mean,
Alina, I think more builders need to take shilling
Yeah.
and pitch lessons from you. I love this.
yeah, no,
We need to organize a pitch workshop after.
Yeah, I mean, another fun one is like geolocation data, because that's something that I mean, it obviously, gets collected by phone companies and gets resold and like gets hacked and probably gets backdoored by even more governments than Telegram. But
Girlies just want to get home safe and
Yeah.
have their friends monitor them.
yeah, well, I mean, so the fun thing is like if you think about it, that like geolocation data is a medical record. Like if you can totally use AI and like figure out, hey, this person is suddenly walking 10% slower, and like maybe that's a reason to charge them more for health insurance.
There are some very nice NPC implementations for GeoTools.
Stupid question. What's MPC?
Multi-party computation. So basically,
Human language.
if you want to compute on some private data. So suppose you want to do some private GeoTools, like I want to go home privately and share somehow that I'm within a radius of my house. I'm not showing the address, but I want to be able to compute like via signals, whatever, that like I have entered an area. This is not just like, this is like a computation that like goes on over time. It's not just like I prove that I'm at home, because this can be whatever.
Is it basically like a little bubble that is not accessible to everyone?
Yeah, think of a black box in the sky that does computation for you.
See, that's human language. That's beautiful.
But it's not one black box, it's many that all. Yeah.
No. Just stop there.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It's a black box in the sky that does magic.
Keep it at least
Okay, so we've talked about privacy. We've talked about medical records. I mean, one other one that I think is important is cybersecurity. We have basically all of these technologies that we have, right? So including Signal, including any medical apps, if they run on an operating system where either the operating system is backdoored or the hardware is backdoored, then really you're much less secure than you think, right? And so I'm also curious, what can we do to kind of encourage, either more awareness or more development of more open and also more secure alternatives for some of those lower levels, and what would it take to make that happen?
People go where there's already traction. No one wants to be the first one at a party, but you want to be at a party when it's popping, right? And so I think in a similar way, anything that is private and for us to encourage that. So this is the same thing where I love Farcaster, but you cannot expect people from Twitter to fully transition to Farcaster, because I'm on Farcaster for the ridiculous shit posting and memes that have nothing to do with crypto. I'm watching a stupid TV show, which is completely garbage, and I want to see all of the memes, and you connect because people want to connect, right? So I think with anything else, making it like during COVID, remember what was that game that was trending? You know, the one with the
Pandemic, was it?
during COVID, there was this game everybody was playing. Among Us, yes, that's the one. Everybody was playing it. Why? Your friends were playing it, right? Like, it was that network effect. And I think when we can have privacy, have network effects where it's cool and other people are doing it, you will somehow find yourself in a position where other people will be. Yeah, I think that that's marketing has a big role to play in that, in adoption. And I think without kind of going on and on, one of the reasons why I love Solana's adoption rate and just their strategies is they're working with marketers who understand how to get to user adoption, like Nikita Beer and a bunch of other people. And I think we could, the more we do that, I think the more we get to more adoption and usability.
Do you feel betrayed?
Sorry. Okay.
But maybe I can restore diplomacy. No, but just with cybersecurity, I think this is not cybersecurity, but I think it's a super hard question, with chips, because there's a bit of an oligopoly situation with the chip manufacturers, and if you're trying, it's not like we're saying build ZK apps, anyone can come, it's accessible, it's not like Ethereum, which is open and accessible for everyone to come and build and just do what they want. Building chips, it's almost an impossible game to enter. But there is a little bit of hope in the sense that you see these ZK accelerators or FHE accelerators where they do start building chips for kind of special purposes. And maybe these kinds of things, I mean, this is a bit more the technical perspective, but like maybe these kinds of things help at least the awareness side on the technical side and push it a bit further.
So a friend of mine, not me, doesn't know what chips are. What do you mean with it like that?
Like, so
there's like Doritos, there's like Lay's.
Pringles are the best.
no, but like the processor in your phone or your laptop or whatever, or in the, and like normally they're made by one or two companies, and if those, and every system, every device in the world.
But they're gate kept, like you don't know what they're made of. You don't know how they're made. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Go technology. Go Ethereum.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No. Go with. Go Ethereum. It's a great client. Who here has run it? Okay, no, it's good. It's a good client, right? Okay, never mind.
Saying something in the audience, no?
Yeah, okay, maybe one interesting question to kind of start wrapping this up with that I think is interesting and concrete, which is what would it take for you to switch from Twitter, or at least start regularly posting on either Farcaster or Lens or something similar? And I mean, before we start answering, I think one of the reasons why I want to ask is like, not like, I mean, I'm interested in like the concrete example, but I'm also interested in as like a case study, and like maybe there are things that we could learn and apply to like have a good kind of pipeline for breaking down network effects more generally.
Could we start with a little game where everybody in the audience speaks and not just us? One word, what would make you switch from Twitter to Farcaster? Yell. Go.
Money.
Money.
Farcaster already has
Yeah.
that, so.
Okay.
Material girl. Somebody else?
User experience.
That's a good one.
What's one element of Twitter user experience that like sucks and where Farcaster could totally leapfrog it if it wanted to?
You go very deep into messages.
Oh, there's a mic next to you.
If you go very deep into conversations, then eventually you want to go back to the front, and there's no way. You have to go back.
You just have to click.
Yeah.
Can I give a suggestion too? Fandoms and the pop culture girlies, like bring pop base to Farcaster, pop crave to Farcaster, and and anything that's happening that I love consuming on TikTok or on Twitter. If I could find that on Farcaster,
Also,
I would
maybe
totally
games
use it
as
so much.
well. Games.
Oh, well, of course, gaming. I'm just talking about like a personal interest, right? So.
At the moment, it's a great place to go if you're someone who wants to dive even deeper into like the crypto intelligentsia and like very deep topics. But like, I wouldn't go there to learn anything about what's going on in the hip hop world, even though there is like a hip hop channel that still completely lives on Twitter, similar to what she's saying.
For me, if even one person asked me to, like if, I mean, maybe this sounds a bit sad and lonely, but like if anyone even wanted me there, I would go. Like, so it's a bit, no, but like, I mean, it's like, oh, hey, like you said with Signal, like you're asking your friends to use Signal, like I would be like, okay, she wants me there, I'll go for her, like whatever.
Yes, but you're a very kind and responsible human being.
Okay.
Most of us are selfish assholes.
Do you have a Farcaster account? Okay, I'm gonna follow you and I'm gonna engage with every single cast.
Okay. Maybe.
We onboard one person at a time.
Exactly. This is what I mean, basically, like one person at a time.
But so maybe to offer a different perspective on that, so I literally, the first time I'd heard the word Farcaster was right now. I'm assuming it's an alternative to Twitter, given the question that was asked. But I'm on Twitter, I'm on Blue Sky, and I'm on Mastodon. So I'm not like totally unaware of alternatives. But I think that the fragmentation is a problem. For me, that's what, like, if you said to join Farcaster, I'd be like, oh my God, now I get to post across 4 things. I have to copy that tweet 3 times. I have to find your username on the other thing. I have to figure out what the hashtag, like, and to me, that's a big limiter. And I use things before the craziness of Twitter, I just used Twitter and I was able to do everything on Twitter. All the communities were there and it was easy. And so I had to write one post it, and I was done. Now, knowing that I need to write it 3 times and do all of this, it's a pain, and all the communities aren't in one place. So the fragmentation, I think, is also an issue.
Okay, I have an idea. If someone were to make a Chrome or Firefox extension that intercepted the send button in the Twitter UI and just made it automatically cross-post to Blue Sky Lens and Farcaster, would you install
So
it?
Noster?
Also Noster, yes. Okay, audience, raise your hand if you would.
What about the consumers?
Okay.
You want someone consuming the casts and stuff as well, right?
Okay, so the other thing that this extension does is that it also like adds in like tweets from the other platforms into the Twitter feed.
Does it also give you money if you use it? Here's $1,000.
We'll figure that out.
Farcaster does similar thing. I
Yeah.
get $2 every week.
Mm.
$3.
I love that. I did that good.
Okay, so go ahead. Mm.
Mike, should we move the mic over there?
Yeah, you were mentioning the features, and I think there was one interesting experiment. I don't know if it still runs on the Lens network, and that was, we all know that we are like that we all have our personal sort of AIs that are feeding us content, and we have no influence over them in the Web2, the usual social networks. And
We're talking about the AI slope.
I believe on the Lens you could have reset your feed, your suggested feed, just to zero it out. If I don't like it, I'm gonna wipe it and it's gonna start learning again, and potentially, you know, maybe I want to see what you see, Vitalik. I want to see what you see, Alina, and I follow your feed instead of my own. Maybe that could be an.
That would be an interesting experience, but I think it would kill the whole social media model as it is.
I mean, but
Burn it to
but
the
is that bad? Yeah. Yeah.
Can I offer one more comment? So thinking about why I probably wouldn't switch from Twitter, which I don't use much anyway, but I'm just thinking, like, I haven't checked, and please forgive me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that like Web3 based social media are basically decentralization theater, because I'm pretty much sure that most people use it through some centralized gateway, through the regular web app, which is registered with some company, and so on and so on. And if I want to really take advantage of the promise, I would have to run my own node and run my own things and make sure it's all decentralized and stuff, which I'm not sure is kind of feasible. And like, if I want to prevent censorship and if I want to like not be deplatformed, for me it sounds like the solution is a self-hosted blog with an RSS feed, and it has been solved 20 years ago. Like, let's fix that and let's make that usable. We don't need like 20 more levels of abstraction, including like financial abstraction on top of that. It's just called a blog. Let's use it.
Who here has posted on either Farcaster or Lens or Blue Sky using an interface other than the official primary interface for those platforms? Okay, see, so I think not I think some real gains already, but definitely a lot that can be built on. Okay, maybe maybe like a last question. What is something that you guys believe, think, or feel about any of the DIAC related topics that you guys did not at the beginning of today? How has it changed you?
Well, I think it's for us now, and I am going to share more about it, and I'm going to tell other people y'all are building for DIAC too, because you're building intentionally and in a positive way, and one that actually helps us towards a better future. So that's my biggest takeaway.
I only got here like an hour ago, 5
You learned
minutes
what
before my
DIAC
talk,
is.
so I yeah, exactly. At least I learned what DIAC is. And also, why did we create a whole new word for something that we're all doing anyways? This is something that always confuses me about Web3. Why so many new words? Let's just stick with one. Maybe not Web3, something cooler. We create one and we stick with it. But no, you know, you either die here or you live long enough to become the devil. But yeah, no, since I only got here an hour ago, I really don't have a good contribution to this, apart from new word.
I think my favorite part of the day was the man with the small guitars. Shaka. So no, like just generally the vibe in the room. I think this is a bit of the part of it, like creating a bit the culture, bringing the right people in the room, having a nice atmosphere, making it feel sort of calm and safe and whatever, and fine to discuss. And like, I think, I mean, a few of us talked throughout the day that we don't feel there's enough truth being spoken basically at Web3 events. It's just too much. And like, I think if we go back to the social media, Twitter, Farcaster, whatever debate, I mean, Twitter's gone to shit because it's just like, it's really a lot of marketing. Sorry, like marketing is great and we need to do it. And like, you know, everyone wants their stuff used. But when it just becomes marketing, it's like the essence of the thing is lost. And like, I think here, at least it's one of those places where the essence of the thing tries to be held a little bit, at least.
Yeah, for me, I already touched on it a little bit, but honestly, I feel like from today, I'm really taking away a less isolated feeling. I think, I mean, I definitely don't want to act like public health has some kind of monopoly on social care, but I do have days where I feel like I live in a world where everyone is just interested in making money and there's like 5 of us that want to do something else. And that can feel very disheartening because it can feel like you're just never going to win and the good things just aren't going to be able to happen because they're not profitable enough. And I really feel like today has been really like, has buoyed me and made me feel really energized about, I think that I really want to go back to my public health community and my kind of bioinformatics and microbiology communities and tell them like, hey, I found a really cool place over here and I think we need to get connected to it more because I think we align on so many things and I think that there are ways here that we can not have so many depressing days and have more days where we can really see how we can build towards the future. So for me, that is an amazing takeaway from today.
I mean, since all of this is about community, should we hear some hot takes from the audience? Not takeaways, hot takes.
I have one more question as well, maybe to Vitalik. Like, what do you, so you had the at the back table there are some of the DIAC Volume 0 books, the Techno-Optimism. What do you expect to see in Volume 1?
I mean, hopefully, it will not be a book. It will be a collection of like real projects that you can use that realize all of the underlying DIA goals and that speak for themselves. Okay, hot takes from the community.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, can we just have a round of applause for Shaka and for everyone behind like the tech and the AV and the operations people we can't see?
Oh.
Thank you for working so hard all day. I know it's tiring, but just want to appreciate you all. And we have Darren here in the back who's been helping with the presentations all day. Thank you so much. Thank you, QZ. And thank you all of the team who's been helping out behind the scenes. We really appreciate you all.
My hot take is that I love Duck Day. I want to quack quack around the world.
Okay.
You can just scream out your hot takes. We're wrapping up. Oh.
There is food upstairs, but oh, it's ended.
I mean, Yesh did talk about it, right? You know, were you there for Yesh's presentation actually? Okay, he is so far the DIAC food security guy. He actually some really good stuff. I actually at Switzerland I had the pleasure of eating a resilient food dinner where the dishes were planned by him, and it was all like the types of food that are most likely to survive a nuclear war, and it was you know, a bunch, you know, very mushroomy, potatoey, and like a lot of like interesting greens that I have never heard of before. It's
You should have filmed what I eat in a day.
fascinating. Yeah.
I'm relatively new to this space. My first in-person interaction was during DevCon in November last year, and I went to the SheFi Summit, so I had a very soft landing. And today, my tagline just feels like power to the people, because I'm now surrounded by a lot of people that are in it to make more money, like you said. And there's some altruism here, there's collective care. I really liked what you said about privacy. So yeah, power to the people is what came to my mind a couple of hours ago, and it's still sticking.
You're not new to crypto. That's like years in any other industry. Crypto time works differently. One DEF CON to this one, you're a veteran at this point.
Yeah, I'm onboarding people now.
So I had a question or remark after what you said about feeling the buoyancy and finding the space, because I've watched this now for years and tried personally to connect what I know about crypto and what the community is doing to other industries that I'm involved in, and go there and say, did you know there's a whole army of nerds who's trying to build tools that benefit you? I've tried to contact Fridays for Future in Berlin to get people involved. So you got invited and you came and you're taking this back, but I wanna see not just the coincidence of some conference and you getting invited. So I'm looking for just as a remark, I think we need to do way more, just like how you take this energy back, but I've seen it work too slowly for my taste, and I want to accelerate that. So that's a remark and a question
Maybe
of
we should
how
have better
to do
PR.
that.
I think that's an excellent point. If I can just make a quick comment on this. I think that one thing that's really important is the approach, though. Because if I had gotten an email being like, hey, we're into crypto, we're going to fix biology for you, do you want to come? I would be like, no, thanks. I'm busy trying to fix biology myself. And also, because we do have this experience, like the number of people that came to us during COVID and were like, hey, I have this idea about how you could like make a model of how the disease might spread. Would you like to hear about it? Like, we've been doing this for a while, thanks, yes, we know. So I think there needs to be, and obviously it comes from a good place, but it's a place of ignorance, and it can hold us back trying to catch people up rather than us going together. And so I think one thing that's really important is to make an approach that isn't like, hey, there's a lot of people here trying to fix your problem. Can you want to like come and give us your 5 opinions? But rather like, hey, we think that we have some great alignments on wanting to solve this problem. Can we work together? Can you tell us what you've already done? Can you tell us what you need? Can you tell us the much more complicated history behind this that you aren't aware of? And then people are going to be way more open to being like, yes, I want to join this community, not just be like a road stop on this community's adventure to save the world.
Pull, not push.
We need to have better parties.
Women and LGBTQ folks have historically been the ones that have created culture, fashion, music, movies, everything. And I think this space doesn't do enough to onboard them. And until we do, we won't actually see mass adoption.
We're literally right here.
I know, but it's just in general.
Yeah,
It's just like
initiatives are happening.
yeah, it's something that like that's been the thing that it was actually really nice to see you guys talk, because it's the one thing every time I go to these conferences, I'm just like, it's just a bunch of dudes, and it's more dudes.
Shout out to SheFi and Boys Club trying to, in Web3 privacy, onboarding one woman at a time.
Well, now I'm going to make a not decentralized but defensive decision, and for the sake of respecting people's time and making sure that the dinner happens, let's everyone give a round of applause, and thank you all for a very successful
Thank you so much,
DIAC
everybody.
day.
Thank you.
Test. You guys want to take a photo together or something? Yeah. Take a photo? Yeah. Test. 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 Okay, so speakers, can you gather at the back? We have a bus for the dinner. Everyone else.